ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेष्व भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवत्युत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नन्दनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमः ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे। हरे रामा राम राम हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. So welcome all of you in today's session. Thank you for joining. There was basically some issue with the scheduling, so because of which the sessions were scheduled for, I think, just 4 weeks. So the recurring link was not working today. So apologies for the inconvenience. So then I immediately tried to put another link so that you could join in the session. So yeah. So we continue our discussions. I was not keeping well for some time because of some issues with the voice, throat. So, but now I am completely recovered, and the 10th as well as 11th Canto sessions, they can go on. Also, there is slight change in my schedule, so I will put up the new schedule. Some of the holidays that I was needing for my personal reasons, so some of them are not needed now. So I will sort of share with you the updated schedule. So in case you can also make it for the sessions which prior, I mean the sessions which I had prior cancelled because I was not available, but some of them now I am available. So I will put up the updated schedule so you can see and try to attend those sessions if you can. Okay, so we are studying from 11th canto, and this is 11th canto's second chapter going on. Second chapter entitled Maharaj Nimi meets the nine Yogendras. So in this we have seen first four verses, and after that we had some break because of these unavoidable reasons. So we will continue from where we left off. So just sharing the screen. So if you see this chapter second, so here Maharaj Nimi meets the nine Yogendras. So these are the chapter sections. We have gone through this already. Just to again give the link. In this chapter, which is one of the philosophical sections of 11th Canto, Vasudeva Narada Samvada. So in this first nine verses talk about Narada's arrival and Vasudeva's inquiry. So Narad Muni, when he visited Dwaraka, so he went to Vasudeva's palace, and there the conversation between Vasudeva and Narada has happened. So that's the topic for next four chapters, second, third, fourth, and fifth. This conversation where Narad Muni himself quoted another conversation that happened between the Maharaj Nimi, the king of Videha, and the nine Yogendras, Jayanteyas. So that's all. That's what is the topic of second to fifth chapter. So here now we see in the first 9 verses there is Narada's arrival and Vasudeva's inquiry being talked about. Then from verse 10 to 23, Narada, he begins to speak this old history about Navayogendra's meeting King Nimi. Uh, then further there is arrival and welcoming of Navayogendras. Nimi Maharaj makes two enquiries. One inquiry is about Bhagavad Dharma, and another inquiry is about the various types of devotees. So these two questions are answered by Kavi and Havi, uh, two of the 9 Yogendras. So we are here, Narada's arrival and Vasudeva's inquiry, this particular section we are studying. So in this section, first 4 verses have been covered. So now we will proceed with the next set of verses. So, okay. Okay, so here that Narad Muni was welcomed by Vasudeva. Hmm? We have seen these verses, right? Uh, Shukdev Goswami began by speaking about how Narad Muni would stay constantly in Dwaraka. Uh, he would go out, but then again come back to visit and stay constantly in Dwaraka. So we talked about the glory of who would not serve Sri Krishna's lotus feet. And then moving to this episode where Narad Muni came to Vasudeva's palace, and Vasudeva was very, very happy, welcomed him with proper etiquettes. And then he glorified Narad Muni, uh, pleased him with very sweet words, which were genuine words of appreciating him, saying that your visit, it is like the visit of parents to the children, and it is for the swastaye sarvadehinam. uh, So Narad Muni continues in that same aspect. He continues to glorify great devote. Vasudev. Sorry, not Narad Muni. Vasudev continues to glorify Narad Muni. He continues to glorify this very special position of pure devotees and their compassion for all the living beings, because Narad Muni has come here to bless Vasudeva. So that's why Vasudeva is glorifying Narad Muni and the specialty of pure devotees. Uh, so, in that same context, first he spoke about how your visit here is like the parents visiting, their children. So it is benefit. It is for the benefit of everyone. So now he says in this next verse, which is text 5, he says that in fact your visit is or personalities like you, they are greater than even the demigods. You are more special than even the demigods. Why do you say so? So you can see. Bhutanam deva charitam dukkhaya cha sukhaya cha sukhayaiva hi sadhunam twadrisham achyutatmanam. Anant Vijay Prabhu, can you please read, Prabhu? This is the translation.
The activities of demigods lead to both misery and happiness for living beings. But the activities of great saints like you, who have accepted the infallible Lord as their very soul, result only in the happiness of all beings.
Yeah. So before submitting his enquiries, Vasudeva, he has welcomed Narad Muni very properly. And then he is also expressing his genuine appreciation for Narad Muni, his exalted position as a sadhu, as a pure devotee of Krishna. And then in the end, he will also submit his inquiries, asking for the explanations of Bhagavata Dharma. So here he is saying, you can see, Bhutanam Deva Charitam Dukkhaya cha Sukhaya cha. So Deva Charitam, the activities or the character of the Devatas, how is it? It is Bhutanam Dukkhaya cha Sukhaya cha. As far as Devatas are concerned, they can cause dukkha as well as sukha to the various living entities. Bhutanam. Devacharitam to Bhutanam Dukkhaya cha Sukhaya cha Asti. The activities of demigods are like that. They can lead to both misery and happiness for the living beings, isn't it? That is true. The Devatas, they give happiness and they also give misery in the life of the people, living beings. But someone like Narad Muni is being compared uh, to those Devatas. Sadhu, you are a sadhu, you are a great saint. Uh, how about you who are like pure devotees, who are like sadhus like you? Tvadrasham sadhunam. But Tvadrasham sadhunam charitam tu. But the activities of great sadhus, saintly beings like you, they are sukhayaiva. They are only for the sake of happiness. Just a minute. You can clearly hear me, right? The internet is fluctuating, but I think you can hear, right?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay.
Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you. So, sukhayaiva hi sadhunam. But pure devotees like you, saintly devotees like you, sadhus, great saints like you, their activities are only for the sake of sukha, only for the sake of happiness of the living beings. You don't have that character or activities or that kind of nature to give suffering also. You are always thinking of how to benefit everyone, how to bless people with the real happiness. Achyutatmanam. Why is that? Because actually you have accepted Lord Achyuta as your very soul, in the sense that Achyuta is so dear to you, like how one soul is very dear. Similarly, Achyutatmanam. Uh, so you have accepted Lord Achyuta as your dear life and soul. So basically, they have such a great devotion for Lord Achyuta. They are only existing to devotees like Narada they are only existing to please Lord Achyuta, Sri Krishna. So that's how the difference is being mentioned. Sridhar Swami. Devairapi mahatam upamanam anuchitam ityaha bhutanam iti. So he is saying, Sridhar Swami, that here the great devotees like Narad Muni, they cannot be even compared to great devas. Devairapi mahatam upamanam. If you compare the great devotees, mahats, to devatas, that is anuchitam, that is improper. Of course, the demigods themselves are very great, right? We know that they are not some ordinary beings. They are very exalted devotees of the Lord. But still, can they be compared to Mahats, the pure devotees of the Lord? So they are considered, the pure devotees are considered certainly higher than even the Devatas. Hmm. Of course, now here within Devatas, sometimes Brahma or Shiva are included. So those would be different categories, right? Brahmaji is a pure devotee of Krishna. Similarly, Lord Shiva is none other than Supreme Lord. He is Ishvara only. So when we talk about Devatas, generally the Devatas like Indra, Chandra, Varuna, all these personalities. So they are compared to pure devotees. Then pure devotees are certainly, greater to, much greater to even these Devatas, that way. Because Devatas, as per Jiva Goswami, fall into Karma Mishra Bhakti category, while pure devotees are, we know that is Kevala Bhakti category. It is not Karma Mishra Bhakti. What is a Karma Mishra Bhakta? A Bhakta who is attached to Krishna's lotus feet. Primary goal of life is Krishna's lotus feet, but there is also some attachment for karma. What is attachment for karma mean? What does that mean? It means attachment to some material benefits that come as the part of that service, as part of that post and position. So because they are attached to that, so they are considered to be karma mishra bhaktas. Most of the demigods like that. So in that case, the Mahats obviously cannot be compared to them. It is improper to compare the great devotees to Devatas. Devanam charitam ativrishtyadina bhutanam dukkhay api bhavati. Devanam charitam, how are the activities of Devatas uh, causing grief for the living entities, distress for the living entities? Because he says, Sridhar Swami says, sometimes, ativrishtiyadina, right? Devatas cause not only the proper amount of rains, but sometimes Indra can give, ativrishti, right? Ativrishti, anavrishti, giving too much rain or too less rain, uh, all this sort of things. So then in that case, we see that 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 sort of reciprocation can cause distress also to the living entities. Also, the devatas, they themselves have a nature sometimes where they can become envious or they can become competitive, uh, they can become egoistic. We see so many pastimes like that, right? Where the devatas also show those kind of traits. So that's why it is being said that they can cause distress. Although devatas, like next verse will speak that devatas are ordained to give what the karma of the jiva is, certainly. Hmm. So strictly they reward as per the living entity's karma, no doubt. But this other aspect of their nature, where they also can become sometimes angry, not happy with the worshipper, and thereby they can punish the living entities. So that is also possible, like that. So that idea is being spoken. So sadhu is for only giving, happiness to the living entity. And we are not saying material happiness necessarily, but from his side, he only thinks of kalyana. He only thinks of welfare. Uh, so he may want to give transcendental happiness. Sometimes, in order to bring to that level, he may give some material happiness also, so that the person develops faith and then he may go for transcendental happiness. But from sadhu's side, his intention is always to benefit. It is never to hurt or to give distress to any living being. So that is the difference that is pointed out by Vasudeva. So you can see in Srila Prabhupada's Disciples' Purport, also they have spoken these ideas. Purport. This verse clearly states that the pure devotees of the Lord, such as Narad Muni, are saintly persons to be considered superior even to the demigods, the living beings empowered by the Supreme Lord to administer the entire universe, right? So sometimes this idea may be a little bit radical for some followers of even Vaishnava Sampradayas, that how are we considering pure devotees or saintly persons to be greater than even the demigods? So demigods may be given a very high position. So the disrespect is not at all intended, certainly. But if we see the categories and the way, uh, especially in our Sampradaya, the Acharyas have delineated, so the Mahats or the pure devotees of Krishna, they obviously based on various Shastri Pramanas and all, we see that they are certainly considered to be superior to uh, the even the Devatas, especially these Devatas like all the Dikpalas and all of them. So these personalities, so that's why being compared. So Prabhupada's disciples, they quote from Bhagavad Gita, Ishtan bhogan hi vo deva dasyante yajna bhavitaha tair dattana pradayebhyo yo bhunte stena eva saha. Stena eva saha. Such person is thief only, who apradayebhyaha, without offering things to the demigods, one is trying to bhukte, one is trying to enjoy it. So such person should be considered a thief only. So by the Lord's arrangement, material prosperity depends upon the satisfaction of the demigods. If the demigods are dissatisfied due to non-performance or improper performance of sacrifice, they are empowered to impose various types of sufferings upon the human beings. So especially if there is non-performance of sacrifice or improper performance of sacrifice, then the demigods naturally inflict suffering also, isn't it? So it is in proportion to one's own karma. Next verse will say also, Chayeva karma sachiva. And they are like the shadow that follows a person. Karma sachiva, they are assistants in giving what is ordained by the karma. So, if somebody is not performing his duty, non-performance or improper performance also of sacrifices, then the demigods may give him suffering, may inflict suffering this way. Like excessive heat or insufficient heat or excessive rain or insufficient rain. And these things, especially in Kali Yuga, become very common, right? Because there are no sacrifices being performed and all. So the nature is there acting as per the universal system, and sometimes they may also act under that particular influence of anger or like that. But this is not how the sadhus are. No, even if somebody is not performing bhakti, somebody is really a fallen soul, right? So sadhu's nature to that person is of benefiting only. Sadhu's nature is of compassion. Even if somebody is ignorant, the sadhus will want to benefit only, not punish them so much. Not that is not the nature, unless and until some exceptional things like Narad Muni punished Nalakuvar and Manikriv, but even that is a blessing only, right? It's not exactly punishment. He is blessing them that they will become the pure devotees. So, so that's how. So you understand, non-performance of activity will immediately sort of invite the wrath of the demigods. But non-performance of duty from sadhu, it will not invite wrath. It will still invite compassion only. It will generate compassion in his heart that way. So that's why he is quoting Titikshava Karunika. Suridah sarvadehinam ajata shatravah shanta sadhava sadhubhoshana. A very beautiful verse from Kapila Shiksha, where he speaks about these qualities of sadhus. Who is a sadhu, right? Because Vasudeva is calling Narad Muni as a sadhu. So sadhavaha, sadhu bhushana. So these are the qualities of sadhu, right? Titikshava, karunika. They are tolerant, they are merciful, they are friendly to all the living beings. Surda Sarvadehinam. Vasudeva spoke about that quality before. Ajata Shatravaha, no enemies, right? Uh, Even those who hate sadhus, sadhus are not enemies to them. Shantaha, very peaceful. Sadhava, sadhu bhushana. So these are the actually no, the best of the sadhus. These are like ornaments of the sadhus. A sadhu is described above is a devotee of the Lord. His concern, therefore, is to enlighten people in devotional service. That is his mercy. That's the that's the highest benefit that he wants to offer, sadhu. So that's why a devotee travels all over the country, door to door, preaching, saying, "Be Krishna conscious, be a devotee of Lord Krishna. Don't spoil your life in simply fulfilling your animal propensities." He is not satisfied with his own liberation. He always thinks about others. That is Surdaha Sarvatehinam, isn't it? The sadhu's nature is not just to uh, keep knowledge with oneself, but share it with others on his own, by his own willingness, share that knowledge with others. So that is compassion. That's the greatest mercy. Some sadhu may bless somebody to have some, wealth or good progeny or good health or like that. But the highest benediction is the benediction of blessing someone to become a pure devotee of Krishna. So that is what the sadhus want to give like that. So they mentioned about Haridas Thakur and Nityan Prabhu, these wonderful uh, episodes where we see the qualities of a devotee being shown here, like that. So that is the difference. What is the difference between an enemy and a friend? It is a difference in behavior. A sadhu behaves with all conditioned souls for their ultimate relief from material entanglement. So in this way, the word sadhu has been elaborated by Srila Prabhupada's disciples by quoting that particular verse from third canto. All right. So they continue this theme. Bhajanti ye yatha devan deva api tathaiva tan chayeva karma sachiva sadhavo dina vatsalah. Okay. Arundhati Mataji, you wish to read? This is the translation. All right. Akinchan Krishna Prabhu.
Prabhu, I have some dental problem, Prabhu.
Oh, okay. No problem.
Sorry.
No, absolutely no issues. Ravindra
Can I,
Sachiputra Prabhu,
Prabhu?
you can read. Ravindra Sachiputra Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam.
Yeah. Dandavat Pranam.
Those who worship the demigods receive reciprocation from the demigods in a way just corresponding to the offering. The demigods are attendants of karma, like a person's shadow, but sadhus are actually merciful to the fallen. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Bhajanti ye yatha devan deva api tathaiva tan. Just as those who worship the devatas, devas also reciprocate accordingly. In fact, Krishna also speaks like this, right? Ye yatha mam prapadyante tams tathaiva bhajamyaham. Mama vatmano vartante manusya partha sarvasya. So Krishna also behaves like that. As you approach him, he awards or rewards accordingly. like that. But the sadhus are not like this. By Krishna's mercy, the sadhus show greater mercy than even the Lord himself. Of course, it is Lord's mercy only, because who are sadhus? They are also Lord's tadiya only, paraphernalia. So, in a way, that is Lord's mercy only. But then still, the in terms of actual conduct, how Lord sees and how the pure devotees see, there is a difference, right? That's why even in the Bhakti Rasamrita, not Bhakti Rasamrita, Madhurya Kadambini also, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti begins the discussion by talking about who is the cause of bhakti, who offers bhakti to a jiva. Uh, so actually the Madhyam Adhikaris offer the bhakti. And by bhakti we mean especially the Uttama bhakti. That is awarded by Madhyam Adhikaris only. They are the ones who go and share Krishna consciousness. Prema Maitri Krupopeksha. So they share the Krishna consciousness. Supreme Lord, he may also share in his incarnations or in his uh, appearances as Lord Chaitanya. So Lord may also directly bestow bhakti. But in general, as a rule, as a process, actually Madhyam Adhikari is the one who offers bhakti. Uh, so Bhajanti ye yatha devan, deva api tathaiva tam. Devatas also reciprocate accordingly. So as you worship them, they also worship, they also reciprocate accordingly. Chayeva karma sachiva. So they are said to be like shadow. Uh, Karma sachiva, assistants. Whatever is our karma, they are assistants in this universal system to offer that what is ordained by our karma. But final line is sadhavo dina vatsalaha. But sadhus are not like this. They are not karma sachivas. They are dina vatsalas. They are very, very affectionate even to those who are dina people, meaning those who are very fallen. Those who are very fallen. Keep yourself on mute, all of you. Please keep yourself on mute. So that's how. So demigods, they are said to be attendants of karma, assistants of karma, sachivas. That word you must have heard, sachiva, secretary, even in the common parlance, right? Sridhar Swami says, Kincha sukham kurvantopi deva bhajananusarena kurvanti न तथा साधवः इत्याह भजन्ति इति. किंच moreover sukham kurvantopi, even while offering the happiness, even while offering the sukha, happiness, the devatas, they offer that happiness only to the degree that the bhajan has been done. The bhajan here means worship. To the degree that worship has been done of that particular demigod, by whatever process one is following. So to that degree, the devatas would offer. So if by that person's, I mean, if that person has not done that kind of karma where he has worshipped those demigods, or he has taken up that process where there is worship of demigods, or like that, so then we see that the devatas, they don't offer these things. So to the degree the worship of worshipper is there, to that degree the devas bestow the happiness also. So if one has not worshipped the Supreme Lord, or one has not worshipped devatas, like by processes such as karma kand or upasana kand, or if one has not worshipped the Supreme Lord also, then they will not give anything. and then the karma ordains that they will not be able to give anything. But the sadhus are not like that. That is the point. Sadhus are not going to say, okay, what is karma of this person? Is he qualified to receive my mercy? Why should I give him the mercy? No, this is how the devatas think that, okay, why should I bestow these things to him if he does not have that karma either in this life or in prior life? If that kind of anushthan, that kind of yagyas and all, they are not done, they don't give these things. So, Dina Vatsala. Dina shows the sense of somebody who is not qualified, but still one is receiving that particular. So that's why the devatas are chayeva. Chayeva yatha purusho yavat karoti tavadeva tasya chayapi. Why are they being compared to chaya, shadow? Because yavat purusho karoti, the movement or whatever that is done by a man, by a purusha, a person, Tavadeva tasya chayapi, the shadow exactly follows that, no? Isn't it? The person raises the hand, so in shadow also you can see the hand is raised. So shadow follows a person, any activities that are done. At least a genuine shadow. Sometimes they have different things where the shadows can be very different, ghostly shadows. But we are talking about a usual, normal shadow. So just as the shadow follows a person, similarly the demigods follow a person's activities, the karma, the activities that are done. So the demigods become instruments in offering those particular results. Tatha karma sachivaha, karma sahayaha. So that's why they are said to be karma sachivas. They're attendants of karma or they're assistants of karma. This is how they are only assistants in offering what is ordained by karma. Like that. So you understand? One is rewarding what is ordained by one's prior activities, one's punya that he has done in the prior life. Or if some anushtanas are taken in this life. So whatever, some performance has to be there to receive those benefits from the demigods. If one is doing bhakti activities, then also one becomes qualified to receive things from the demigods. Because bhakti is in fact the highest punya. Bhakti in turn includes all the material punya within it. There are three kinds of punya talked about. There is bhogonmukhi punya, there is, mokshonmukhi punya, and there is bhaktyonmukhi punya. This idea is spoken by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. So, bhogonmukhi punya is piety that generates the material results, material happiness that is generated by the bhogonmukhi punya. So activities which are material pieties, like creating wells for the people, distributing food, distributing clothes, giving charities, maintaining maintaining old people or protecting the children and all these sort of things. So they generate that kind of piety. There is something which is mokshonmukhi punya also. So if one is rendering a great tapasya, trying to understand the jnana, or one is studying Vedanta, so these are now punyas or pious activities which are producing mokshonmukhi punya. So one in the next life one will have that piety by which one is oriented towards moksha, oriented towards liberation, that kind of mindset. Moksha, bhogonmukhi punya will generate a mindset of enjoying the material pleasures like that. So mindset is also a part, what I want to say. not only the results, physical, but the mindset also. And Bhaktyonmukhi Punya will generate a mindset and also those kind of facilities, opportunities where we can perform bhakti. So somebody may not understand bhakti activities, but if one is rendering some service to a devotee, or one is participating in Sankirtana, or one is just hearing Bhagavatam, but he may not know what he is doing, may not understand the importance of it, but it will generate that kind of punya. So, in this way, like that. So, these sort of punyas are generated. And accordingly, one can receive the benefit. So, as far as the devatas are concerned, when one practices bhakti also, within now bhakti or the higher paths, they do include the punyas which are of lower paths also. Like when Vaishnavas perform Ekadashi. So we perform primarily for the aspect of pleasing the Supreme Lord. That's part of our every rather that's the main intention of our every activity in bhakti. We want to do it for Krishna Pritaye, and this is for Krishna Pritaye, like that. In fact, in our sampradaya, it's not even Krishnarpanam. We say Krishna Prityartham. Krishna Prityartham karomi. Krishna Prityartham. Everything is for Krishna Priti. Priti is pleasure, like that. So that's how that idea is there. So indeed, when somebody is following these paths also, by that a certain level of material well-being is also ascertained even by the paths of bhakti or jnana. What to speak of the path of karma? Certainly. But if one is not having any of these punyas, then what will happen? Then devatas cannot help such a person. But sadhu can help such a person also. Deena Vatsala. That's why they are known as Deena Vatsala. They are merciful to the fallen. Like that. There is this nice verse in the Padyavali. You must have heard this. दीन बंधु इति नामते स्मरन यादवेंद्र पतितो हम उत्सहे भक्तवत्सलतया त्वयि श्रुते मामकं हृदयमाशु कंपते. And devotee is praying very wonderfully. He says that, my Lord, when I hear your name called as Deena Vatsala, Deena Bandhu or Deena Vatsala, Deena Bandhu is the word there in the verse. Deena Bandhu iti namate smaran. When I hear your name or when I remember your name called as Deena Bandhu, so Yadavendra, O Krishna, Patito ham utsahe, because I am so fallen that I feel greatly enthusiastic. I feel, oh, Krishna is Deena Bandhu. So I feel very delighted because I am Deena, I am very fallen. So Krishna is still deliverer, merciful, friend of the fallen, Deena Bandhu. But Bhakta Vatsaltaya, when I hear your name called Bhakta Vatsala, my heart, it starts Mamakam Hridayam Ashu Kampate. My heart starts. It's basically causing a great trembling in my heart when I hear that name Bhakta Vatsala. Why is that? Out of fear, I tremble when I hear Bhakta Vatsala name. Yes, why do you think? Why he is saying that hearing Bhakta Vatsala, I tremble in fear? Anyone? Mahatseva Pro?
Because out of humility, he's thinking that I am not a
I am not a bhakta. Exactly. Yeah, because I am not a devotee. I am not a bhakta. So why will Krishna be Vatsala to me? But Deena Bandhu, yes, I am very fallen. Deena Bandhu is very nice that way. So this devotee is, of course, a very great devotee. That's why Rupa Goswami included his prayer in his anthology. Uh, Padyavali is an anthology. It has lot of prayers of many other devotees also. In fact, Rupa Goswami included them so that these Vaishnavas who were also exalted, but they may not be that popular. So he included them in his book, giving due credit to them also, writing who has written this verse, so that for the future generations, their names will be remembered by the devotees. Because Rup Goswami's book, everybody is going to read, isn't it? He is the foremost of one of the greatest poets of India. So that was purpose of Rupa Goswami in including the verses of others. It was not plagiarism. it was his way of glorifying these great devotees. That's all. So yeah, that's the point. So that idea of Dina Bandhu. So Sadhavo Dina Vatsalaha here also. Veera Raghava Acharya, he uses this Chayeva what is that? Chayeva Karma Sachiva. And this idea or these words he uses for devotees only. If you see in this verse, Karma Sachiva can go along with Devatas, or it can also go to sadhus. If you connect Karma Sachiva to the prior part of the verse, then Devaha, Karma Sachivaha, Devatas are said to be like Karma Sachivas, the attendants to the karma, attendants of the karma. While sadhus, Dina Vatsala, but sadhavo can go also with Karma Sachiva. Sadhavaha, Karma Sachivaha, Dina Vatsalaha. Both the qualifiers can also be there for sadhus. So, Veer Raghava Acharya, he takes that meaning. He is an Acharya from Sri Sampradaya. And he wrote a commentary called as Bhagavat Chandrika, which is also very popular commentary on Bhagavad. Chayeva paropakara rupa karma sachivaha atah samshrayaniyaha sadhavaha ityarthaha. So you can see Veer Raghava Acharya gives a different meaning to that chaya. He says instead of he doesn't say instead of, but instead of saying shadow, shade is the meaning that he gives. Shade instead of shadow. You understand shadow and shade. Shade is that shelter, like one is sitting in the shade of the tree. While shadow is that salute that is born, right? So the sadhus are like shade, chaya, vriksha ki chaya, because they always do welfare of others. Paropakara rupa karma sachivaha. So in that case, he says that what is this karma? This karma is actually paropakara rupa. So because they continue to perform always the welfare of others, so in that sense, they are constant attendants. Constant attendants of what? You understand karma sachiva is something that is going with karma. So the karma here is referring to the sadhu's karma, sadhu's activity of doing paropkar. So they are moving around as the assistants of paropkar. That is the kind of sense. Means basically they are the ones who are doing paropkar. They are living embodiments of that paropkar. Paropkar rupa karma sachiva. That way. What is accompanying them is paropkar, always. Or they are accompanying paropkar, you can say. Paropkar rupa karma sachiva. Ataha samshrayaniyaha sadhavaha. So that's why the sadhu should be taken, one should take perfect shelter of them. Samshrayaniyaha. Samyak. Samyak shrayaniyaha. That which I mean, when we take shelter, that is called as Shrayaniya, somebody who is worth taking shelter of. But Samshrayaniya. So that means Samyak. So they are perfect shelters, like that. And it can also show the sense of that the devotee should take perfect shelter. So they are the perfect shelter, but if we don't take perfect shelter, then we will be in trouble. We will not benefit, right? So sadhus may be samyak ashraya, samashraya, but are we seeing them as samshrayaniya? So if we take shelter of sadhus only for material well-being or for some emotional well-being or for some information, so then that is not the perfect shelter, right? So great devotees, spiritual master, or those who are acting in our life as guides, shiksha gurus. So these personalities, they are taken perfect shelter of, meaning by inquiring from them how to progress in bhakti, and by following those instructions, trying to go ahead, progress in bhakti, like that. Prabhupada would also say that the guru should not be a fashion, right? Not just fashionable, it's sometimes fashionable. I also have a guru, like that. So not that, like that. Samshrayani, like how somebody who is scorched in the heat, if he finds the shade of a beautiful big banyan tree, how one takes shelter of that tree, right? One is so grateful and one is so happy to be in that shelter. So that's why he's translating it as shade rather than the shadow. So that's how. All right. So coming to Prabhupada's disciples' purport. The words Chayeva Karma Sachivaha are significant here. Chaya means shadow. The shadow of the body precisely follows the movements. And the shadow has no power to move in a way different from the movement of the body. Similarly, the results the demigods award to living beings correspond exactly to the living beings' actions. They are empowered by the Lord to follow precisely the particular karma, like that. So, just as the shadow cannot move independently, the demigods cannot punish or reward a living being independently. So, I mean, that's how they usually act. That's how they usually act. They reward or punish according to the karmas, like that. So, when we talk about demigods or when we talk about the Supreme Lord, a certain portion, a certain proportion is given that they can also play around karma a little bit. But it's not like the devatas or that they can make significant change into that. While Lord can make very great significant change. But there are systems by which one can try to get something which is not ordained in one's karma by anushtanas, yogic anushtanas, karmas, or like that. And what to speak of processes like jnana, they will destroy karma, in fact. What to speak of process like bhakti, it can destroy even the prarabdha. By process of jnana, we may destroy aprarabdha, but the prarabdha has to be accepted. It has to be nullified through the acceptance and suffering. But bhakti can destroy even prarabdha. Prarabdha haratvam. That's one of the qualifications of bhakti, right? Characteristics of bhakti. Kleshagni. So you know all this. Bhakti Samit Sindhu talks about how even the prarabdha can be destroyed by bhakti. So bhakti has that particular power, but other paths, they don't have that power in appreciable sense, like that. So, but the demigods, yeah, that's how they are ordained. They act in that particular manner. But the sadhus, they are very, very merciful. This is the point. In this regard, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati has commented that unless one is engaged as a surrendered soul in devotional service of the Lord, he cannot actually be considered nishkama or free from all personal desire. Sometimes a materialistic person will engage in charity or altruistic activities and in this way consider himself a selfless worker. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati especially speaks about what is nishkama. He speaks about who should be considered a surrendered soul. So unless and until all personal desires are gone, even the karmis and jnanis, they are also considered to be selfish at one level, right? Karmis certainly, even the jnanis, because they are interested in only their own moksha. The process of jnana is like that, right? One wants to please Paramatma or one wants to remember Brahman, In jnana path, there can be worship of Brahman, or it can also be trying to please Paramatma with the goal of jnana. The goal of jnana is sayujya. So one may try the process of yoga also in order to please Paramatma, but attainment that is desired is of sayujya mukti only, merging in impersonal Brahman. So their worship of Paramatma, a meditation on Paramatma, can also be only for the purpose of attaining sayujya mukti. So that's how even the jnanis, or for that matter, even the yogis, jnanis, yogis, both desiring for sayujya mukti, they will be considered selfish only. Because once that purpose is accomplished, they don't have anything to do with the process of sadhana. Why are paths of jnana or yoga also considered selfish? Because once the goal is achieved, once you become a siddha, once you attain sadhya, have you got anything to do with that process? Have you got anything to do with what was your upasya, the worshipable object? Nothing. You don't have anything to do with that. That's it. So that's why these processes are not even considered nitya. They are not even eternal processes. They survive or they stay till the time only the goal is achieved. Once the goal is achieved, finished. Once somebody merges in Brahman, what Vedanta Vimarshan he is going to do there? There is no Dvaita only. So what Vedanta Vimarshan? Once somebody achieves Brahman, what Paramatma worship he is going to do there? So whole Dvaita is removed. There is only Advaita. So that's why these paths, they are not considered to be the paths which are selfless, like bhakti, which continues even beyond one achieves the goal. Even when one goes to spiritual world, we see that the bhakti process continues. Alayam, that's the meaning of that word. Vibhata bhagavatam rasam alayam. Alayam, laya paryandam. Beyond liberation also, layam abhivyapya. In fact, Sridhar Swami has said, it is beyond liberation also. So liberation means going back home, back to Godhead here. So bhakti process is actually that way eternal. It does not end when the goal is accomplished. So it is considered completely selfless. It is the worship of the Lord continues even in the Siddha stage. Even glorification of the Lord, worship of the Lord in this way. All right. So that's how. So Madhvacharya's Uddama Samhita is also quoted here. So where Madhvacharya he has this opinion, Sukham icchanti bhutanam prayo dukkha sahadranam tathapi tebhya pravara deva eva harehe priyaha. I was speaking about this also, right? Rishis want happiness for all beings and are almost always incapable of tolerating the unhappiness of men. Nevertheless, the demigods are superior because they are very dear to Lord Hari. So this idea is spoken by Madhvacharya. He speaks about how the demigods are very, very dear and in fact they are superior. But there is some difference on that aspect. But although Srila Madhvacharya has placed the demigods in a higher position than the merciful rishis, Srila Jiva Goswami has stated, Sadhavastu na karmanugataha. The sadhus are actually better than demigods because the sadhus are merciful regardless of pious or impious acts of the conditioned souls. Like that. So then how do you reconcile both the opinions? So you see, this apparent disagreement between Madhvacharya and Jiva Goswami is resolved by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, who points out that in the statement of Srila Madhvacharya, the word rishi or sage indicates the so-called sadhus or saintly persons among the karmis and jnanis. Ordinary fruity workers and speculative philosophers certainly consider themselves to be at the summit of pious morality and altruism. So he is talking there about the sages who are acting at the level of karma and jnana. So the devatas who are empowered representatives of the Lord, they can be considered higher than them because devatas are karma mishra bhaktas. So their bhakti is very prominent. Pradhani bhuta bhakti. The bhakti is pradhan there. So that's why they are greater than such sadhus or saintly persons who are best of the best of the lot of karma kand or jnana, the jnanis or like that. But when it comes to pure devotees, the kevala bhaktas, then they cannot be compared. Such demigods, however, cannot be compared to pure devotees such as Narada, right? In fact, Narada is Devarshi, right? So devatas themselves also worship Narad Muni because he is Devarshi. As Devarshi, he is fit to be their spiritual master also. But apart from that designation that he has, the point is that the devatas, they are certainly very dear to the Lord, but when compared to the Kevala Bhaktas, the pure devotees, acharyas like Srila Jiva Goswami and Bhaktisiddhanta, they have mentioned that the sadhus only should be considered to be, the sadhus or the pure devotees should be considered greater. Okay, so 2 more verses and then his enquiries are over. So we'll complete this quickly now. Brahmans tathapi prachamo dharman bhagavatanstava yan shrutva shraddhaya martyo muchyate sarvato bhayat. Okay. Who wanted to read, please? Last verse I called out, so somebody wanted to read, right? Please read the translation.
Oh, I can read now.
Okay, Mataji, you want to read now?
Hare Krishna,
O
Prabhu.
Brahmana,
Okay, read. Prabhuji, you read, no problem. Yeah.
Prabhuji, can I continue?
Yeah, please continue. Yeah, please continue, Prabhu. Am I audible? Okay. Okay, some issue with the internet disconnection. So now you are able to hear me?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay. So please read the translation of the verse. Just a minute, I'm sharing this. Yeah.
Hare Krishna. O Brahmana, although I am satisfied simply by seeing you, I still wish to inquire about those beauties which give pleasure to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Any mortal who faithfully hears about them is freed from all kinds of fear. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. So Brahman tathapi pruchamo dharman bhagavatan stava. So, O Brahman, O Brahmana, Narad Muni, tathapi pruchhamo. So, having described my pleasure in this way, I am simply blessed by your presence. Uh, I am simply satisfied by seeing you. That itself has made me blessed. Kritakritya. But still, tathapi, that's why he's saying tathapi. Still, I wish to inquire uh, about those duties which give pleasure to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, we were just talking about that samshrayani, right? Taking that perfect shelter of the great saintly sages by making the right inquiries and by seeking the blessings for that right process. So he is also, you can say, he is taking the advantage of uh, the association of such great devotee like Narad Muni. So he is saying, Tathapi, although I am satisfied simply by seeing you, I still wish to inquire about those duties. What is that? Bhagavatan Dharman. Bhagavatan Dharman Prachamaha. Vayam Prachamaha. We ask, I ask for those Bhagavad Dharmas or the principles of Bhagavad Dharmas, you can say. Yan Shrutva Shraddhaya Martyo Muchyate Sarvato Bhayat. Hearing those principles of Bhagavad Dharmas, what will happen? If one hears them with faith, then the person, he will be freed from all the fears. Martyo, a mortal being, he will be freed from all the fears. So that's why I'm asking you for the Bhagavad Dharma. I'm asking you for the process of devotional service. What is the process of bhakti? How to please the Supreme Lord? That is Bhagavad Dharma, right? Dharma, that which is to worship Bhagavan, Bhagavata Dharma. Or Dharma, that which is spoken by the Supreme Lord also. That is also Bhagavata Dharma. Krishna himself spoke this Bhagavad Dharma to Brahmaji in Chatushloki, right? The word Bhagavata can mean so many things. Bhagavata Proktam, that is one of the primary meanings of Bhagavatam. That which is spoken by the Lord. That's a primary meaning of the word Bhagavatam. Bhagavatam, Bhagavata Upadnyate, Bhagavata Proktam, Tat Bhagavatam. Because it was spoken by Supreme Lord himself to Brahmaji in terms of Chatushloki, like that. And there are many other meanings of that. You can see the commentary of verse second, 1.1.2. So many different ways Bhagavatam is glorified, is spoken. Bhagavataha idam, Bhagavat Swamikam idam Bhagavatam, Bhagavataha idam Bhagavatam, Bhagavata Proktam Bhagavatam. I like that. So anyway, what my point was that this Bhagavad Dharma is that Dharma which pleases the Supreme Lord. And any mortal who faithfully hears about them is freed from all kinds of fear. Sridhar Swami. तदेवं यद्यपि भवता आगमन मात्रेणैव वयं कृतार्थाः तथापि पृच्छामः. So in this way, although I am completely blessed by your arrival itself, आगमन मात्रेणैव, आपके आगमन मात्र से ही हम कृतार्थ हुए. We have become kritartha. I am completely blessed by your arrival itself. Your darshan, your arrival, your darshan. I still wish to know something from you. I'm inquiring. Please answer. Bless me with answers. Tava iti. Tava yaihi dharmai prasanno bhagavan stan iti arthaha. See, there was this tava. So literally, what is he asking? Narad Muni is being asked by Vasudev that Vasudev is saying, I inquire about your Bhagavad Dharma. Tava Bhagavatan Dharman. You see, I inquire about what? Your Bhagavad Dharma. Meaning, I am asking for those practices of Bhagavad Dharma by which, Bhagavan is pleased. Your practices of Bhagavad Dharma. How do you do it? How do you please the Supreme Lord? So he's asking that Narada Muni, you have pleased the Supreme Lord so wonderfully. So how do you please the Supreme Lord? I want to know about that Bhagavad Dharma. See, that's the sense here. Please speak your practices of Bhagavad Dharma by which Bhagavan is pleased. This is the meaning. So Narad Muni is going to speak. Obviously, when he's speaking, he is going to speak from realization. But he's also asking and expressing that actually you have pleased Lord so wonderfully. You are so dear to Krishna. So please speak about this Bhagavad Dharma. Narada is also the propounder of Bhagavad Dharma, right? Narada is a well-known exponent of bhakti. So he is asking, Tava yaihi dharmaihi prasanna Bhagavan. By your practices, Lord has become extremely pleased. So please tell us about that also. Srila Jiva Goswami says, Mat prasangena shrutva martyopi. Any mortal who hears this conversation, in my context, he will also be freed from all kinds of fear. Meaning he is saying, Mat prasangena, what you will tell me now, even if some other mortal being hears that, they will also be freed from all the fears, because Bhagavad Dharma will give the knowledge of what is the shelter and what is this Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadhi and what is the real shelter. And once one understands these truths, then one is freed from all kinds of fear, right? So he is saying Mat Prasangena. So this conversation, Narad Muni, although I am, see the sense is like this, that although I am not very intelligent, probably I may not understand your all the instructions, but anyone who will hear these instructions or these instructions that you have spoken to me, if they are recounted in other places or like that, so then others will also be benefited. So it's not for my own benefit, but it's for the benefit of so many others also. This way, like that. So that is the kind of sense also in this. Or it can just mean generic sense that Bhagavad Dharma, please speak about that Bhagavad Dharma, which anybody mortal, if he hears, he will be freed from all the fears. Vishwanath Chakravarti. Gyan Shruttveti Twaddarshan Sambhavana Rahitopi Martyo Yan Shrutvapi Kimuta Acharya. Vishwanath Chakravarti says, Twaddarshan Sambhavana Rahitopi. I have the fortune of getting your darshan. But there are some who don't have the fortune of having your darshan, right? So even such beings who don't have fortune of your darshana, such personalities also, they will become freed from all the fears just by hearing this. Just by hearing about Bhagavad Dharma, one can become free from all the fears. What to speak of acharya, what to speak of implementing those principles in one's life, right? So he is glorifying Bhagavad Dharma. The aspect of bhakti, just knowing the aspect of bhakti, knowing how Supreme Lord is for us to take shelter of, how he is the supremely loving master, and how the process of Guru Sadhu Shastra is there to help, that itself can destroy one's fear. What to speak of one starts confidently marching ahead on that path. So that is Vishwanath Chakravarti's sense he is saying here. Shrutvapi, just by hearing, it will give such a great feeling of shelter. One will be freed from the fear. So what to speak of implementing it this way? So this subject matter is glorified in that particular manner. So this is his first inquiry. This is the first inquiry of Vasudeva. All right. Vishwanath, no, the Prabhupada's purport, Prabhupada disciples purport. According to Srila Jiva Goswami, Narad Muni might have been reluctant to instruct Vasudeva because of natural respect for Vasudeva's exalted position as the father of Krishna. Narad might have thought that since Vasudeva was already perfect in Krishna consciousness, there was no need to instruct him in the process of devotional service. Therefore, anticipating Narada's possible reluctance, Vasudeva specifically requested Narada to preach him about devotional service to Krishna. So actually, this objection comes ahead in the next verse, but it is being put here, right here. Vasudev should not, Narad should not think that, oh, Vasudev is like such an exalted devotee. He is already so great. He is father of Krishna. What can I instruct him? So that's why Vasudev himself is taking that humble stand, and he is asking for the understanding of Bhagavad Dharmas this way, like that. So this is the symptom of pure devotee. He never considers himself exalted. To the contrary, he meekly feels that his devotional service is most imperfect, just as Vasudeva is showing here. Vasudeva is exalted. He is father of Krishna. He is a most exalted pure devotee. But still, you can see that how he wants to hear from Narad Muni these principles of Bhagavad Dharma. Certainly for the benefit of all the living beings, as he is saying, Yan Shrutva Martyo Vimuchyate Sarvato Bhayat. So these sections are for our benefit, certainly, although the modes of pure devotees are also being shown here this way. So then proper disciples speak also about the humility. They talk about the Bhaya aspect. Bhaya is caused by seeing something other than Krishna. Bhayam dvitiyabhiniveshataha. When there is absorption in something else apart from Krishna, then there is Bhaya. In fact, this verse will come here also later in the explanation, so we can talk about it at length later. Prabhupada, Bhaktisiddhanta, sometimes so-called scholars, distraught after many years of impersonal speculation and enjoyment of materialistic life, become fearful and anxious. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati compares such disturbed philosophers to the bound vulture in the Chandogya Upanishad. Desiring liberation from fear, such speculators unfortunately concoct an imaginary liberation. Bhaktisiddhanta also speaks about those who imagine a freedom from such fear by imagining that they are freed, vimuktamanina. So one is not freed, but one imagines that one has become freed artificially, like that, by doing some impersonal speculation or like that. But it is impossible to become free without developing true attachment for the Lord's lotus feet. See, even those who want to merge in Brahman, they have to worship the Supreme Lord, even if they have to merge in Brahman. Otherwise, they cannot attain Brahman also. At least as sadhana, they have to read about the Lord, hear about his activities, and even chant mantras and all that. So they do as sadhana, they do it as just a practice. But they have to do it. If one is offensive to the Lord, if one is indifferent towards the Lord, thinks that Lord is a form of Maya or something, then such people can never attain Brahman. They may be Brahmavadis, but if they think that Krishna's form is Maya, if they disrespect Krishna, or they are just completely oblivious to Krishna's personality or like that. So for such people who disrespect Krishna in that manner, they are not able to attain Brahman. In this life, they may become exalted, but they fall from that position also. That is the meaning of Aruhya Krichrena Param Padam Tataha Patanti Adho. Even though they achieve a great position in the material world, but they will fall from that position also. Jiva Goswami says, even if they attain the position of Jivan Mukta, they will fall from that position also. You cannot survive that. Anadrita, if you do another, if you do disrespect of Krishna's lotus feet, you cannot even attain Brahman. What to speak of attaining Goloka or Vaikuntha? It's just out of question. Like that. Okay, so I think I will pause here because it is already time. Hare Krishna. So thank you all very much. I was planning to cover 2 more verses, but fine, tomorrow we should cover. So after 2 verses, meaning Vasudeva's inquiries are over, then the rest of the episode is like very simple because it's just talking about the conversation. So till verse 26 or so, it will be not much commentary. So only after the Navayogendras start answering, that is the classic section where there is a lot of philosophical discussion. Okay, so I'm hoping that we would be able to cover substantial verses tomorrow, at least reach up to Nimi Maharaja's inquiries. Okay, Hare Krishna. All right, thank you very much. Granthra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Okay, any questions, please, you may stay back. Otherwise, for those who don't have questions, you may please proceed for your service. Okay. Mahatseva, bro.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Prabhuji, question is regarding this karma which has come in the discussion. So karma is enough, like Karmimamsa, I think that is what Krishna spoke in Govardhan Leela, which is considered, I think, at this. So Karmimamsa, so just karma, having that stock of karma is enough, or worship of demigod is to get extra, or worship of demigod is to required to get his own karma result. Like that is what is clear. To get our own karma result, no worship of demigod is required. I think that is what is Karmimamsa principle also speaks. But then why does somebody worship demigod? Is it to get extra, Prabhu, or?
See, worship of when we are saying the demigods are giving one what is ordained by the karma. So there, Prabhu, the worship is being talked about, which is done the prior worship. The worship which is done in the prior life. So now by that one is qualified to receive part of that reward of that karma. So a demigod they have to give that. They don't meddle with that. They are ordained, they are ordered by the Supreme Lord system that they should give. So now if one is performing another set of karmas, anushtanas or like that, that is for future karma. It will generate future karma. One who is born, he is already coming with a certain karma. That has to come. It will come. And the demigods will not meddle anything with that. But the point is, yeah, now the worship and all is needed. Of course, it is, first of all, that is performed because one may be part of that culture, one may be born in a family where that culture is going on. But even if we are talking about the right understanding, so from the angle of right understanding, one knows that whatever I have done in my prior life, I will receive the benefit of that. But what about the future lives? So then one may continue to worship that demigod. So when it is being mentioned, demigod is seeing whether he is rewarding proportion to the worship. So that worship is prior worship that is being done.
Yes, bro, it's a very important point you have said is worship itself is a karma, which sometimes we segregate. We segregate karma and we segregate worship. So worship itself is a karma.
Exactly.
So the second question, second is a very good point I just wanted to underline. So very important thing you said is like Jnani interest in self only, self-development only. And and how we can understand is that he's only focused about his goal, sadhya. But it is not nitya. His practice is not nitya because he doesn't do anything with a lot of merging. So because what I was saying is like sometimes this blame is put on Bhajananandi also, that Bhajananandi is also like self-focused, he's like selfish. So I think this is a very important line because he's not selfish, because he is like a desirer of doing service of the Lord, which is Nitya, eternal, in eternity. Correct, no, Prabhu? You can understand like this?
Yeah. See, a bhajana nandi, that term itself is a little bit misunderstood, right? Bhajana nandi, the term is not necessarily negative.
Yeah.
Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati and Bhakti Vinod, they spoke a lot, or rather zoomed in on this term Bhajananandi, and especially in Saraswat Sampradaya, in Bhaktisiddhanta's follower, and that includes all of us also, Prabhupada's ISKCON also, that the terms, they received a particular connotation. As such, Bhajananandi is a very good term. We are supposed to be Bhajananandi. But the point is that the way Bhaktisiddhanta viewed it is a Bhajananandi, that is perfect, no problem. But a unqualified Bhajananandi is whom he had trouble with. Somebody who is not on that platform and person wants to just out of laziness or like that, just wants to take bhajan, doesn't want to do any service, and probably he is not sincere with that bhajan also. Now the mentality of a Bhajananandi is that if I please Krishna, what can he not do? He can bestow entire world whatever is needed. Meaning sitting there with his bhajan, he wants to please Krishna. Yasmin tushte jagat tushtam. What more can be done? If you chant the holy names with sincerity, and if Krishna is pleased by that, what greater things you can accomplish? So you may do bhajan with such pure motivation where you want to do it with love for Krishna, and you may do preaching with a motivation to increase self-glory. Or other way around, one may do preaching as pure desire to share the knowledge of Krishna consciousness with others, and one may do so-called bhajan just to show off, just to show, just see, I'm like such a great Bhajananandi. Or one may do it out of laziness, one doesn't want to do anything, so just wants to put up a show of bhajana. So what I'm saying is, both the paths are there, Bhajananandi, Goshtyanandi, and both are not necessarily condemned. It's just that in our sampradaya, although there were devotees like Bhajananandis, like Jagannath Das Babaji or Gaur Kishore Das Babaji and all, but when Bhakti Siddhant, he started preaching, or when these devotees would meet Bhakti Siddhant also, so they would be very, very happy with this, that not only you are a Bhajananandi yourself, but you are also sharing this bhajan with others. So that mood is there very much. So we don't condemn Bhajanandis, but we see our Acharya's mood is, okay, do great bhajan also and do some preaching also. Both the things, Goshtyanandi, somebody who is relishing that, so he wants to share also. So our sampradaya is like that. Sometimes by some immature people, it may be taken to extremes where we may just condemn Bhajananandi, thinking that every Bhajananandi is useless. Not like that. Probably there are some Bhajananandis, they by mere chanting, they are bringing so much welfare to the world, which we may not bring by our whole preaching in lifetime, because the intentions are so pure. So, but what becomes important for us is the Acharya's mood. So Acharya's mood is that you do a great quality bhajan and you also share that knowledge so that others can be inspired to do that great quality bhajan. So this is how we see it, Prabhu. We should not see Bhajanandis as deviants or something. Unqualified people, whether it is Bhajanananda or Goshtyananda, both places they wreak havoc, right? So unqualified people are always like that. They will cause some damage, no doubt.
Yeah. So yes, Prabhuji, thank you very much for bringing out these wonderful points where you have broadly described Bhajananandi and Goshthanandi. But this point also, Prabhu, that he cannot be said selfish because he is still continuing after sadhya, after achieving the sadhya also. He still wanted to engage in the service of the Lord or something in his meditation also he would be doing. And he still have desired to do that.
Yeah. See, if he is with right motivation of doing it completely for the pleasure of the Supreme Lord, then we will not treat him as selfish.
Yeah.
We will not. Nobody will treat him as selfish in that particular manner. It's just another mood of serving the Supreme Lord.
Yes.
That's it. So we appreciate that mood, we respect that mood. But that's how, no, in bhakti there are various moods to serve. So then we take like somebody can serve Radha Krishna in the mode of Sakhi, but then in our sampradaya the Manjari bhava is what is revered, right?
Correct.
So now both are proper bhavas, but still, uh, that's how it is. The moods they govern the sampradaya's feeling. So yeah, selfish, considering them as selfish would not be appropriate. Selfish and all is being called for jnanis and such people who are actually selfish because they are only interested in they are only interested in their own welfare, and that too not eternality of the process also. So that is a very important point Bhaktisiddhanta points out. So if you accept sadhya and sadhana as eternal, so then where is the question of selfishness? In fact, even from the angle of bhakti being ekanga and anekanga, right? Bhakti, one limb can be practiced, or bhakti's all limbs can be practiced. So what if somebody decides to practice only Shravana Bhakti? Then that person also you will say is selfish.
Yeah.
So doesn't make sense then. Why he? So then what is an Ekanga Bhakti then? Bhakti where only one limb is focused. That will become then completely selfish definition. But that's not how Bhakti is defined, right? In Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, one can focus on one limb also, or anekanga also, all the limbs also, or some limbs also. So in our sampradaya, the limbs of Shravanam, Kirtanam, and Smaranam, they are the focus. In fact, that's how Raganuga. In Raganuga Bhakti, these limbs are the focus. Archanam is done in addition to corroborate or support the first three limbs. It is done like that. Understand? So yes, selfishness cannot be said. If one is doing with a completely genuine desire, why would it be called as selfish? No. Like that.
Thank you very much. Great points. Thank you.
Radha Raman Prabhu.
No, Hare Krishna. Pranam Prabhu, in this clarification or reconciliation between Madhvacharya and Jiva Goswami on the topic of Rishi, which Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur clarifies, is there any other pramana which Madhvacharya actually gives that the Vaishnava is higher than a demigod? Because do they accept the same translation of Rishi in their sampradaya?
No, they don't. They don't. That's when you need reconciliation, right? Because Madhvacharya speaks a certain idea. So he speaks only that much, like just a minute, I'll show you. And that is when reconciliation is needed. If he speaks the other idea, then probably we may not need the reconciliation at all. So you can see he is quoted here. Madhva, this is Madhvacharya's commentary. I'm showing you on the screen. Like that. So this is Sukham Icchanti Bhutanam Prayo. So he talks about what the devatas do typically. So what is the what do the devatas do and what do the rishis do? He has spoken here. So he says Shubha Shubha Phalanam tu Karmanam Vibhuda Sada. So as far as Vibhudas, devatas are concerned, they are going to see what is Shubha and Ashubha phalas of their karma. What is the auspicious and inauspicious results of the person's karma. And they act in that manner, sada, like that. But pravartaka yatha yogyam rkshayaha karunaha sada. And pravartaka yatha yogyam. So as appropriate as it behooves, the devatas will reward. But rishayaha karunaha sada. But the rishis are always merciful. He is quoting this from Uddam Samhita. Some of the pramanas of Madhva cannot be traced exactly where it is from. He has quoted like that pramanas. But because Madhvacharya is quoted, we accept them. We accept his authority. So after that, this verse is saying, Sukham icchanti bhutanam, prayo dukkha saha nranam. So this is the position of the rishis, that they are karuna sada, they are always merciful, and they cannot tolerate the dukkha. Still, this is the last line. After this, he doesn't comment anything. He says, Tathapi tebhyah pravara deva eva harehe priya. But still, the devatas only should be considered dearer to the Lord. He says. Still, the devatas should be considered dearer to the Lord. So now, that is why then Bhaktisiddhanta takes up the point of, okay, this is Madhvacharya's opinion. So how do we see this then? So, yeah, Prabhu, this is Bhaktisiddhanta's reconciliation. How do the pure devotees, they are placed by Madhva Sampradaya? In Madhva line, though, we see that certainly devatas are offered very exalted position, and they are, of course, they are, but they are glorified as greater than even the rishis or the sages. Especially somebody like Vayu is glorified so much special, right? Vayu Mukhya Prana is glorified like that. So they have some pramanas for that aspect. Once I was talking to a Madhva scholar, so he showed some pramanas from Skanda Puran and all that. So Madhvacharya is speaking means we accept it as truth. But then, yes, certainly, certain angle or certain context in which he is speaking within the devatas, Vayu should be considered certainly very special, being Mukhya Prana. But when you compare to the Mahats, pure devotees, Kevala Bhaktas, then our Acharyas have different opinion on that. So,
Okay, but Madhvacharya, has he ever given any pramana that a Vaishnava is higher?
not in my knowledge. I am not an expert from Madhva Sampradaya.
No,
But
just asking.
as far as I have read in commentaries which I read for these verses, I did not come across. Even in the same verse, like this verse I showed you, he's concluding with that. He's not commenting anything further. He's saying still the devatas should be considered dearer to the Lord.
Yeah.
Like that. So
Okay.
that's all. So,
Okay, no problem. I understand. Thank you, Prabhu.
thank you. Anjana Bachchuji, can you please speak?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Thanks for a very nice class, Prabhuji. I had a couple of questions, Prabhuji. So, you were talking about that devatas are basically giving rewards as per the karma of a jiva. And Prabhupada said that Krishna can erase your lines on your hand, and anytime he can erase and redraw whatever on your hand. So I am just trying to understand, does that mean that devatas will respect the new karma that a devotee has based upon whatever bhakti that they have done, or do they just take into consideration whatever karma that you had at the end of your previous life?
Yeah. Okay. Yes, bro. So one is born, as soon as one is born, one is born with, this idea. There is idea of prarabdha karma. So prarabdha karma is the karma that you are going to suffer or enjoy in this life. It is for this life. You are born with it. So it is going to come in this particular life. That is prarabdha. So now this is based upon our previous births activities. Not only last birth, but it could be also prior to that. It could be combination of many births karma. And based on the complexity of karma, now in this life it is going to fructify. So now this prarabdha, when a devotee is born with, he is also born with a certain prarabdha, isn't it? He may have certain prarabdha which he is born with, or somebody who is born with and now becoming a devotee, suppose. So now, when the process of bhakti is taken up, then by that process of bhakti, depending on how much advancement we have made, the devatas would, respect that particular advancement, and accordingly, the karma aspect will come in our life. What happens is, what happens? Okay, just a minute. I have to take this call. Just a minute. So yes, sorry for the disturbance. So what I was saying was, yes, so they were, once you take up to the process of devotional service, no, then what happens is the whole karmic account, no, instead of being seen by the demigods, it is under supervision of Krishna actually. So Krishna decides what karma is to be given, what is not to be given. So those devatas, they become assistants in directly the orders which are given by Krishna, that okay, this karma need not come in this devotee's life, and this karma can come in this devotee's life. So the process of bhakti puts you, I'm not saying that it will destroy all the karma, but it puts you directly under Krishna's intervention. This is explained by Vishwanath Chakravarti in the explanation of the text Kleshagni Shubhada Moksha. So, by process of bhakti, now Krishna decides whether a devotee who is supposed to get a certain suffering, whether he should get it or not, or which happiness should come, which happiness should not come, which happiness will make him proud. So, Krishna doesn't allow that happiness to come. Some suffering may be very terrible, but then Krishna wants that it should be minimized. Okay, just okay. So I was saying that. So that's how Krishna, he takes care of that karma. No? So the processes like karma, the processes like bhakti, they have the overriding ability, Prabhu. They can override your karma. That's the ability of a process like bhakti. And that's what is the meaning of kleshagni, in fact. Bhakti can destroy prarabdha, bhakti can destroy aprarabdha also. So that is a huge topic. You can see that in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, or you might have studied also. So the point is that to simply state it, what happens with devotees' karma is Krishna takes it under his supervision. So now demigods are going to act in a way that Krishna wants them to act, saying that, okay, these are the things of karma Krishna will allow in a devotee's life. These are the things which he will not allow. So typically how he deals is he minimizes the karma. Suppose by our prior karma, we were supposed to get some deadly disease at the age of 50 or like that, and that's all is our lifespan. So Krishna may, reduce that karma. He may reduce that karma and may not give us that deadly disease, but some other disease which is not that serious. So he may allow us to live beyond our karma also. Now, this kind of change is not possible by mundane processes. It is only possible by processes like bhakti. So he may change our karma also in that way. That's what Prabhupada means by, Krishna can change the lines of your lalata, forehead, or lines on your hand that way. So that is the idea, basically. It is making sense to you, Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. I have one other question, Prabhuji, if you are okay.
Yeah.
Prabhuji, this was regarding the devatas are exalted. So you mentioned earlier on that devatas are certainly exalted. And you also followed that up saying that Krishna looks devotees favorably. Krishna likes maybe not the exact same words, but you said something like Krishna likes devatas. So I'm just trying to understand that, Prabhuji. But you also mentioned that devatas, they basically look at one's karmas and accordingly, grant them favors or whatever punishment. So looking at one's karma and giving them appropriate rewards looks like transactional to me. Like, you go to a hotel, depending upon what token you have, you get whatever,
Yeah.
or, if you don't have the right token, you don't get anything.
Yeah.
So how is this sort of behavior exalted? I'm just trying to understand, Prabhuji. Please
Okay.
help me.
Yeah. So the exalted aspect was from the angle of Prabhu that the Devatas, they are chosen representatives in running the universe. So you can see like Indra or personalities like Chandra, Varuna, Vayu, and all of them, right? These are the chosen living entities in the universal management, no? So these are dear to the Lord in that sense. Like what happens when the demons attack Indra or Swarga? So does Lord help Indra or not? He helps the demigods. He helps Indra, right? When the everything is taken away by the demons or like that, then Lord intervenes because he knows that the demigods, they are empowered representatives and they are there to run the universe for universal management. They are his own representatives. Now, dearer to Lord, dearer than the demigods are the pure devotees, the Shuddha Bhaktas. But the demigods are also very dear to him because they are helping in the service of running this universe. So from that angle, the Lord is very dear. I mean the demigods are dear. I'm just sorry, there's a lot of things are going around here, so I'm little disturbed. So बाद में करता हूँ. Okay. ये क्लास चल रही है, मैं रुक नहीं सकता बीच में. आप कर लो. मैं बाद में कॉल कर लूँगा. हाँ ठीक है. So the point is this, Prabhu. The point is that because they're empowered representatives, they're serving the Lord in universal management. So devatas are considered to be dear by the Lord. See, everyone is dear, but then those who are helping in the universal management, they are dear. Dearer than demigods are the pure devotees of Krishna. Pure devotees. They are very, very dear. And even the normal living beings are dear to the Lord. But then you understand there is gradation also this way. Otherwise, as far as transaction of demigods is concerned with the living beings, yeah, it is like a general transaction. That is spoken by Prahlad also, right? He says that it is like Vanik, Vanikvat. It's a generic shopkeeper sort of, you have money, you take it. You don't have money, you get away, get lost from here. Like that. So that kind of behavior is there. But then still, these are special people because they are serving the universal management. Not anyone can be Indra, no? Isn't it? Somebody who has done 100 Ashwamedha Yagyas, he's a special soul. Only he can be Indra. Similarly, the other demigods, they have qualified by a certain punya. It's not any ordinary soul. So that's why they are dear to the Lord. And they are devotees, but they are mixed devotees. It's not that they are not devotees. Okay.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Can I ask a follow-up question,
No,
Prabhuji?
no. The others are waiting. Maybe you can wait and ask at the
Sure,
end.
sure.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Rati Banjari Priya Mataji. She is waiting.
Hare
also.
Krishna.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Please accept my humble obeisances.
Humble
Thank you, Prabhuji,
obeisance.
for the class. Prabhuji, I had one question. What is Manjari Bhav? And I wanted a clarification on Mayavadis. They attain Brahman, or they, as you said, they don't really achieve the Aruya Krichrena Param Padam, that shloka you quoted. So, Prabhuji, the Mayavadis never reach the Brahman, basically. I wanted that clarification. The
Yeah,
Manjari
yes.
Bhav in this. Thank you,
Okay,
Prabhuji.
fine. Mayavadis never achieve Brahman, Mataji. You are right. They never achieve Brahman because they are offensive to Krishna. So they can never achieve Brahman. They talk a lot about Brahman. Whole life they are saying Brahman, but they never achieve Brahman. In this life, they can go to a very high extent. They may become sannyasis. They may become, great Vedanta teachers and all that. So that is that Aruhya Krishrena Parampadam. They may attain very great position within the material world, which they think that it's a very great position as a great sannyasi or as a great Vedanti. But can they achieve Brahman? No, it's not possible. They cannot achieve Brahman. You are offensive to Krishna. If you think Krishna's form is Maya, then Krishna gives you a form that is made up of Maya. Ye yatha mam prapadyante. आप सोचते हो कि if Krishna's body is material, then Krishna will give you a material body. If you think Krishna's body is transcendental, then Krishna gives you a transcendental body. You understand? So this is
Thank you,
how Ye
Prabhuji.
Yathamam Prapadyante has been explained by Vishwanath Chakravarti. This is Vishwanath Chakravarti's explanation. So because Mayavadis consider Krishna's body as material, so they are not able to achieve Brahman. They cannot merge in Brahman.
Whereas Brahmavadis reach, they achieve
Yeah,
Brahman.
whereas the Brahmavadis reach because they don't have that offensive idea towards Krishna.
Yes.
They accept Krishna's form as transcendental, they accept Brahman as transcendental, but they are attracted to Brahman and not so much to Krishna. So Krishna respects them because they are not calling him as mundane. So Krishna says, fine, that is good. If you wish to go to Brahman, I award you Brahman. That way. So that's the difference between Mayavadis
Yes.
and the Brahmavadi.
Brahman.
So at best, Mayavadi can go up to Jivan Mukta stage. At best, Srila Jiva Goswami says he can become liberated within the same life, meaning that he has become freed from his mundane attachments and everything. Krishna allows that much also to go by one's own meditation on Vedanta statements and tapasya and all. But he will not allow him to become Videha Mukta, which is transcending the material world and merging in Brahman. That Krishna does not allow. He says if you have to transcend the material world, you cannot carry the misconception there. So that's why somebody may Jivan Mukta, Jiva Goswami says, at best, Aruhya Krishrena Parampadam, that highest point in material world is Jivan Muktatva Dasha. It cannot go beyond that. From there, he has to fall down. So this is how Brahmavadi and Mayavadi should be differentiated.
Thank
Another
you.
point of Manjari Bhava. So this is, of course, it's confidential topic, but it's there in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Manjari Bhav is the bhav of serving Radha Krishna as the humble servants of Sri Rupa Manjari. So these Manjaris are younger associates of the Radha Krishna. They are not grown up like Sakhis who are like 14 years old, who are as good as Radharani's age, or sometimes even more than Radharani's age, like Lalita is elder to Radharani also. So Manjaris are young girls, like 8 years to 10 years, and they serve under Srila Rupa Manjari, and they serve in a very, very intimate manner to Shri Shri Radha Krishna. In fact, they have access to certain places and pastimes where even the elderly Sakhis don't have access. So our desire in Gaudiya Sampradaya is to develop that Manjari Bhava, Radha Dasyam, as servant of Srimati Radharani, but in what way? In the way that Rupa Manjari and his assistants, they serve the divine couple. So that is the Manjari Bhava.
Okay.
I mean,
Thank
many
you.
things could be
Thank you.
talked, but that's essentially the thing.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Mahatseva bro, anything further?
Hare Krishna. Prabhuji, I think this question may be silly, but still I wanted to ask. Basically, Prabhuji, as we know that Krishna is not that much easily accessible to even demigods. Like when he is appearing, we can see that demigods can reach only up to the shore of the ocean. Even Lord Narayan is also not accessible. That way, in that sense, handling devotee's account, karmic account by Krishna, how that would be happening. Either the full account transfer can happen, that whole account goes under him, and then because he will not, for one case, he will not interact with the demigod. It cannot be that much personal. That was my doubt. Or by Vaman Dev, I don't know. It was speculative.
No, no, bro, it is simple, no? Like Bhagavad Sandarbha, what starts happening when a devotee becomes, when somebody takes to the path of devotional service, right? So what happens there is, through the agency of Paramatma, Bhagwan only starts acting. So the aspect of Paramatma, see who deals with the account, karmic account and everything. Paramatma deals with that, right? And how does he deal with that? He deals with material energy. So that's the aspect of Jagat and Jagadish. Jagadish, the Paramatma and Prakriti, they combinedly offer the Jiva the results of their activities. And Devatas and all, they are just assistants under Prakriti. So now when Krishna starts acting by the process of bhakti, all that is now directed to the material nature. That is directly done as Krishna's instruction, which is received through her through the Paramatma. Now Krishna is no longer having that Paramatma act like Paramatma, but actually he starts acting like Bhagavan that way. So the aspect of Paramatma is presided over by Bhagavan. It is directly, in that sense, it is directly under Krishna. Will we say that, okay, Krishna is practically coming and working for a devotee, how, okay, this karma should not come, that karma should not come. Well, he's supervising. And if he's a pure devotee, then he will work also. Ananyaschinta yante mam, he says, Vahamyaham, I carry what they need. And there is this famous pastime of Arjunacharya. Bhaktisiddhanta quotes that where he wants to show that I personally take care of my pure devotees. So he's ready to do that. What about sadhakas? With sadhakas, the same Chit Shakti potency is there, Prabhu. As soon as you take to devotional service, you are not under, you are under Chit Shakti. So now this Chit Shakti, it is going to instruct Maya Shakti to act in such a way that Krishna's desire is fulfilled. So that's the point. If we think that, okay, Krishna is not going to be in picture, then we have to also say that, okay, then whole thing is only under Maya Shakti. But that's not the point, right? As soon as we take to Bhakti, Chit Shakti is what governs the whole thing. So Chit Shakti is Krishna's personal energy. So means it is under Krishna's personal supervision. So the aspect of in a devotee's life, how do those dynamics work? Exactly who is giving him? Well, Maya Shakti is giving him. But the point is the supervision is there, no? Supervision is there. And the aspects of bhakti, what will we say? Are they being given by Maya Shakti? No. They are directly under Chit Shakti. And Chit Shakti is only providing, the joy of bhakti. Can it come in a devotee's life by Maya Shakti? It will not, right? It has to come from Chit Shakti, aspect of Chit Shakti. So, whenever you talk about Chit Shakti, so Krishna is directly there. Krishna is present, and Krishna's energy, Chit Shakti, it is not disconnected. With Maya Shakti, he is disconnected. So the whole dynamics, we may not understand everything. Okay, this is coming from Maya, or is this coming from Krishna? What is coming from which demigod? Those things are not spoken, at least not in so much in my knowledge. But we have some general understanding. If one does not practice bhakti, only Paramatma and Prakriti handle such a person. Krishna does not take any intervention in such a person's life. But when we accept bhakti, then Bhagavan feature starts intervening. And when you say Bhagavan, then Bhagavan is with his potencies like Chit Shakti and everything. That's how it is.
Prabhuji,
You understand?
yes. So, Prabhu, you said, I think, whether you said that Paramatma means generally we know that Paramatma is only Sakshi and it doesn't act. But in case of devotee, he started acting as Ishwar, matlab Bhagavan. Is it correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's basically Bhagavan only who is acting through Paramatma, meaning now that function, that like inspiration within the heart that a devotee starts receiving and all. So that is actually Krishna now. Krishna is acting. He is acting through Paramatma's agency. He takes over. That's the point. Otherwise, Paramatma is just a witness, no? He does not do tasks of
Yes.
so much reciprocation. So reciprocation means you know that Krishna is acting now. That's the point.
And Paramatma here is Kshirodakshaya Vishnu. No?
Yeah, Kshirodakshaya Vishnu. Yeah.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
So Bhagavad Sandarbha acts on the speaks about the roles that Bhagavan and Paramatma take. Paramatma Sandarbha talks about role of Paramatma, but in Bhagavad Sandarbha, like the first question Jiva Goswami begins in Bhagavad Sandarbha is, where he says, is there Paramatma in the spiritual world?
Yeah.
Like that. Is there a Paramatma in the spiritual world? Okay. So at this point of time, I would like to stop because, there was some pre-decided appointment and that's how I was getting disturbed because I have to go to another place. So Pranjal Prabhu, you have a question and Anjan Prabhu, you have any follow-up, then we can do that tomorrow's session.
Sure, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you for waiting, but I'm sorry that I already had an appointment before, so I will have to leave at this point. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you so much, Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
See you tomorrow.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.